So I was quite excited to jump into episode 2 of Tower of God. I mean, first things first, I loved episode 1. I thought it was great having no knowledge on what Tower of God was, other than it was a very popular series. But there was a lot of just different channels and sites that were able to watch the first couple of episodes before even episode 1 dropped, and I heard nothing but good things about episode 2. And honestly, I can see why. Episode 1, it just kicks you off. It has you intrigued, not knowing what you're seeing, why you're seeing it, and it just makes you want to see more, which is exactly what an intro should do. Get the viewer craving more, as if I don't know what I'm seeing, and I just want to learn more, and that's exactly what it did. Episode 2, it starts explaining a bit more. You're starting to get a little better of an understanding of the tower and the regulars and things like that, but honestly, the thing that makes episode 2 even a step above last week is honestly how the characters interacted with each other. I mean, we get introduced, I guess we kind of already got introduced to them, but we finally get names and understanding of who they truly are. I was looking at a character who I thought was going to be nothing. I'm learning, oh, your name's Rack, and you're just going to call everyone a turtle. I kind of love that. It kind of has like a similar quirk to like the Krogans in Mass Effect, where they're very proud warriors, and then they can easily also get lost in having a little short-minded thoughts about saying like, yeah, you're a blue turtle, you're my black turtle. It's like, oh god, I know I'm going to love this character. Might even become my favorite character without much struggle, so that's going to be pretty amazing. We have Kun, who I thought was going to be kind of like a silent antagonist or something like that. I didn't really look up who's the main characters in this show. I only knew Bam and Rachel. Past that, it was pretty much new territory for me, and I knew there was a shit ton of characters. So last week, when we were basically getting into the first test, I was just assuming pretty much everyone here was going to be an enemy and probably would pop up every so often. So Kun was someone I had no interest in, and then immediately was like, oh god, Kun's great. Honestly, like, really great. And there's some intriguing content going on with Kun, because when they, like, passed through that, like, water barrier, all but the bag was able to go through. The bag did go through, but there's something in there that was almost, like, unworthy. So that's going to be a pretty fun piece of content, I have to say. But honestly, I'm just loving how the banter is being explored the most out of anything I saw in this episode. Like, there was some great action, and there's some honestly hilarious moments where I was actually taken back by how they presented the comedy, and I'm like, that is definitely anime comedy, and I 100% enjoy it. But I love the central three here. I honestly feel like it's so weird. It almost feels like you would think that they've been traveling together for a while, especially like once they get out of like the wilderness area and then they're inside and they have to pass through that water barrier. You would think that they're just like best friends, and like the reason they butt heads or the reason they have pet names for each other is just because they've known each other for so long, when really it's been like 10 minutes for them, and that's pretty amazing to me. I think sometimes authors forget that when you're building like your intro of saying, hey, we're gonna have this epic adventure, we're gonna have this like Hunter x Hunter style adventure where you're going through, you're doing the impossible and people want to see it, but you gotta put the focus on the characters too. If you have no interest in their personalities, in their character arcs, who they are, why they're fighting for what they're fighting for, you're gonna completely lose interest unless there's something else like a side character that can keep you there in the long run. But, like, if you look at, say, like, Bam, like, we get a little more understanding of his connection with Rachel. Still, it's a very big mystery. I mean, we learn that he has no knowledge whatsoever before his time with Rachel. He says, like, he doesn't even know if he's killed before because he doesn't remember before meeting Rachel, who basically was the one to teach him how to read and write, and basically became his everything and considers himself hers, which is why he's so bound and bent on finding her and can't wrap his head around why she would leave him. So, like, you're saying, okay, I mean, this kind of really does explain why he's so, I guess, like, narrow-minded in the fact that he doesn't want to hurt people, he doesn't want to do anything, and he's falling victim into being like, okay, yeah, he's clearly the main character. A lot of the things that are happening to him, the special weapon, the idea of passing through the gate, but that's not really an issue. The only time that's an issue is if that's all the character is and you have nothing else surrounding it. But by surrounding him with such great personalities, as we watch the main character with special abilities who's probably going to reach the top of the tower, he's going to evolve into a person, especially the longer he's separated from Rachel, because if she's not around to basically get him locked in that thought that he is hers and basically he's basically dependent on her, especially if he surrounds himself by characters like Kun and Rack, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he won't really flesh out into such an interesting character, and I can't wait to see where he's gonna go. But I honestly love shows that have like an adventure where there's trials and tests and just things like fun battles. Yeah, of course, I mean, it's cool to see battles like swordplay, magic, and things like that. That's always well and good. But I love the idea that you have that, but the main focus is on the objective. The first one was we're basically going to skim down the amount of people alive, and then we're going to bring you to the next room. Okay, so you can easily hide. I mean, that's pretty much what our characters did after basically dealing with what they're calling an alligator friend now. And that was great. I mean, it was really cute. It was funny. It was pretty exciting at certain points because, I mean, there was some ridiculous comedy to that, both on the more like chibi-ish side, but then also just with the way a character would just slightly react, and just, it was pretty great. And when you get into the second room there, I mean, you pretty much immediately transition into like, oh god, he doesn't want to play teammates, his stomach grumbles, and then he basically gets like a chocolate bar looking thing, and then he just starts mowing down, and he's just as content as can be. Such an animal. I think that's what I really love, is just like, it feels like you've always known these characters, or at least that's how I'm feeling watching them interact, as if like the idea of the tower and just getting glimpses of like how like there's a very, very select few who will ever reach the very top, and that's where the king is, and how like you're pretty damn powerful and a badass if you can do that. And you can kind of look and say, oh, I mean, Bam's probably going to be one of those characters for sure. But it's like, that's not even the focus for me. Like, I'm really interested in seeing the world and learning more about the fundamentals, the technicalities, both on a personal and world level. That's going to be amazing. There's no doubt in my mind. But it's just, I love the characters. And there's a lot of characters on screen at any moment so far. I mean, some are going to be relevant side characters. Some will be, maybe we'll never see them again because they'll get killed off, and we just won't see that happen. But I like how it immediately feels personal, as if you have a character who's very gun-ho, and he's like, you know, we're going to be teammates, we're going to be the best, and characters are leaving him being like, okay, let's find our third teammate. And then you see that same character who you're like, he's not getting through that wall, but his pure determination pushed him through. It's nice how it actually feels like they are people and not just like an anime trope. There is tropiness to certain characters, sure, but it doesn't feel like that's all they're built off of, and you can see the potential in them going places and truly having a character arc that actually matters. And that's what's super impressive with Tower of God for me, is that it actually feels personal. It actually feels like characters interacting, and then backed by a really fascinating world, probably going to be arguably one of the most intriguing worlds that 2020 will see in terms of the anime medium. I mean, what's not to love? Something I'm still incredibly digging about the presentation is just how, if you like, I've only seen a little bits of the webtoon, right? I don't read it, I don't go out of my way to read it. I've seen, though, the art style and things like that, and I have to say I'm really impressed with how they've translated it into the anime medium, because it's a difficult, I didn't know how they were going to do it, if I'm being honest, and like, the trailers, I still don't think they did it justice, because it looks so, it's honestly like from the New World, but just in its own version and own style and things like that. And I love how it just looks at a static level. You're just seeing these characters and they pop. They don't feel comparable to any anime airing in this season. It just feels like Tower of God. And when they start moving and they really start doing some interesting animation techniques, it just feels visually impressive while still feeling like an art style that just shouldn't work on paper, but somehow they're sticking its landing. And if I'm not mistaken, eventually the art style does change in the webtoon, and it'll be interesting to see if that is true, how the anime will eventually do that as well, because I'm loving what I'm seeing right now, but honestly, it just feels like the visuals have a real high possibility to be some of the most intriguing of this season. It's going to be either you love the style or you hate it. I mean, that's just simply how it's going to be. It doesn't exactly look and function identically to a lot of shows that are going to air this year, but that's what I like about it, is it just feels like the colors really pop, the line work, it feels like it's jagged, it's in your face, it's rough around the edges, and it just makes this type of world all the more intriguing, as if this is a brutal environment and we're gonna have fun, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna feel like, oh, this is cute and nothing can go wrong, and then shit will go wrong, or we'll get thrown into an action piece. It's just gonna make us sweat bullets while also caring about the characters, and if characters do infuriate us, or if characters do things that we don't like, it's just gonna be a good narrative thing, because you don't want things to just work out non-stop. You want to have conflict, not just with action, you want to have conflict on the personal and dialogue side as well. Over the past couple of episodes, we've had a very slight taste of action. A very slight taste, but the action that has been there, it just looks so cool to me. And I'm really excited to see like a big battle, like a true big battle, something that's going to just basically knock our socks off. And I know we're going to get it, and I don't know how I want it to look, because we've had glimpses of like how they use swords and like lines to show the way the blade connects with another, or just things like that, or the spectacle and flash. There's just a lot of possibilities because of the art style they chose, that the action could be incredibly gorgeous and some of my favorite of the season. And I mean, even if there was a lot of competition for action in this season, I don't think it would matter. I think Tower of God just has something that screams a similar thing that hooked like a lot of Hunter x Hunter fans, was just like there's something cool about the mechanics, there's something cool about the characters, and just how everyone feels like a person both within combat or at a personal level. And I'm excited, man. I really am, and I'm really excited to see all the different like events and just tests that they'll have to go through, because having a water wall that you have to pass through is pretty damn basic, but it was incredibly intriguing and my favorite trial that they've had to overcome, because it was more on like, it's okay if it's just pure luck that you did something. It's okay, Bam, if you weren't thrown away. I mean, you got lucky. That's part of how you survive. When really we know it's like, oh god, he really is going to be traveling to the top of that tower, and that's going to be interesting. It's just great overall. Tower of God, to me, like, I just understand why people were really excited. I mean, sometimes when you hear that type of hype, you think it's going to take a long time to really see why people have that hype, because, you know, it takes an arc, it takes a couple of arcs to see why people are so excited. They like the early stuff, but it's like once you get to that big meaty content, that's where it truly takes off. But I don't care how great it gets in the long run. I'm interested as of right now, and that's why I'm excited for episode 3, and that's why I'm going to be excited for episode 4 and all the other episodes coming. And yeah, I can only imagine it does get better, but right now it's pretty damn fantastic in itself, and I'm more than content with what I have currently. But as always, let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section below. If you loved it or hated it, whatever you feel, do let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.